Hey, welcome back. We're going to make a relatively simple model out of alloy steel. There's going to be several different ways that you could go about doing this. I'm going to pick the simplest basic route that we can take with this. Main thing is we're going to transition over into creating our drawings with it. So there's a couple of features that we're going to use on our drawing. One of them is going to be a revolved section view, and the other is going to be the whole callout command. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to make sure that we are in inches in our model. So I've got a drawing here that we can go by. Hopefully I've got all the dimensions on here. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing that we want to look at is we have a 3-inch radius here. Our bolt circle is actually 3 inches, so all of these are going to be equally spaced on there. These are going to be a 1-inch diameter radius here, 3 inches here. The base floor is going to be a 1/4 of an inch thick. Looks like we're 0.375 or 3/8 on the pads. So those are going to be our first two things that we work with to get this thing going. So go ahead and create a new part in SolidWorks. We want to verify that we are in inch, pounds, and seconds. We also want to come up to this area here. This is going to be a right-click command, so we're going to change our material, edit material, and we want it to be alloy steel. So apply that, and then we close it. Alright, so first things first, we want to start with an extruded boss base, and I want to select the top plane. Right in the top plane, I'm going to come up and grab a circle command. I want to place a circle about in that general area. I want to make that one for construction. Now I want to add 3 more circles. So I'm still in the circle command. The next circle I want to add is right up this top node. I'm going to place one here, somewhere in this general area, and then somewhere in this general area as well. Now what I'd like to do is add some relations. So when I add relations, this one is still selected as baby blue, and then I pick this circle and then this circle here, and I want to make those equal to one another. Alright, I also want to add another relation between this one, and I want to make those horizontal. So when I make them horizontal, they're going to force themselves around this way. So I want to add some dimensions to this. So the reference circle is 3 inches. These pads were 1 inch, and now they're 120 degrees apart. So I pick this circle, I pick our origin, and I pick this next circle. So it selects the center point of each of them. And I want that to be 120 degrees. So that keeps our location. So now, we got 3 individual features out here, 3 individual sketches. So what I want to do is, or 3 individual areas that we would be able to extrude from. But I want to add some more geometry to it. So let's come up and pick another circle, and I want to draw it in this general area, and then this general area. Now let's add some relations to those. So this one's still baby blue, it's already selected. I'll pick this one and pick this one, and I'm going to make those equal. And now I'm going to work my way around clockwise. So I'm still in the add relations command. So I want to pick this first circle, or second circle that we drew, and then this one. I want to make it tangent. Working my way around clockwise. If I pick something completely independent, it selects what we did, goes on to the next thing. I want to make this one tangent as well, and we continue to work our way around. So that one tangent, and then we want to go this one and this one tangent, and then this one and this one tangent, and the last relation is from this circle to this circle as tangent. Now we're not fully defined, so I think we need one more dimension on here. So select a smart dimension. Best to remember this was a 3-inch radius as well. I'm going to pick this circle, and I'm going to make it 6 inches in diameter, so we'll have that 3-inch radius. So our sketch looks something like this. This is kind of a mess over here on this side, but we can get the idea of what we're doing. So let's trim some of these features off. So I'm going to come up and select the trim command. The one I like to use the most is trim closest. It just seems like it works best for me. So I'll select that, work my way around clockwise, and pick those. Now when I zoom way in on this thing, I want to pick these inner portions of these circles, because I only want one enclosed sketch profile. I'm going to work my way around clockwise. If you look here, even this little reference bolt circle, it didn't allow me to trim here as well. So it's used as some construction geometry, so it kind of helps you trim things off if you need them. And in this case, it got to add a little bit of work. So I want to select this, trim it, trim it. I like working my way around clockwise. Trim it, and then trim it, and trim it. So now we have one closed profile. So we're good to exit our sketch, and we want to extrude this material. So let's make this extrusion 0.25. Then the next thing that we had was these pads on here. So we look at this, and our pad is 0.375 thick, and it's also 1 inch in diameter. So let's come up, and we want to select extruded boss base. I want to pick this top surface. It should orient normal to you if your settings are the same. So I want to pick this face. I'm going to tickle that edge, place a circle out here, tickle this edge, find my center point, place it there, tickle this one, find my center point, place it, and now I want to add a relation. So this one is still selected. I want to add this one, and this outer edge, and I want to make all of those equal. So we should be fully defined, and we are. So I look down here, and we are fully defined. It looks like we're here as well because everything went from blue to black. So when I exit this sketch, these pads should be increasing. So we already extruded material 1/4 inch up, and we want to make sure that we just add 0.125 to it to give it our 0.375. So we go ahead and accept that. Now the next thing that we can do is this boss feature on here, like this big tall portion of it. So dimension wise, it looks like it's 1 1/4 inch in diameter, and it looks like it's 1 3/4 inch from the back side of it. So we got 1/4 inch, so we really just need to add 1.5 if we start on this top surface. So let's select extruded boss base. I'm going to pick this top surface. I'm going to pick a circle. I'm going to place it here. I need to give it a dimension of 1.25. We're fully defined. We're ready to extrude. So I exit my sketch. So instead of it being 0.125 here, this time we want it to be 1.5. So that should give us an overall height of 1/4 inch plus 1.5 at 1.375. Alright, so now we've got these holes that we want to put in here. So let's come around and take a look at this. So we have a 0.4375. I know that's fractional, so it's going to be 7/16 of an inch. Here in the US, we're still stubborn and we still use fractions. So let's go ahead and place those holes. So let's come up to our hole wizard. Select the hole wizard. This time we want a simple hole, ANSI inch, fractional drill size, 7/16 of an inch. Now if you don't know your fractional sizes, you can actually check this or uncheck this, and it won't show or will show whatever your decimal sizes are. So 0.4375 is what we're looking for. Now positions wise, so we've got all of our parameters. We don't want a near side countersink, so make sure all of that is deselected. So position wise, it's asking where we want them. I'm going to place it on this face. I'm going to use my Control-8 command where I can see what's going on and kind of show you a little bit better. So I'll tickle the edge of this. I find the center of this circle, and I'm going to place it in the center. Same thing down here in the center, and the same thing here in the center. So I accept it, and now we have these 3 holes. One thing that we need to look at is we have a counterbore in here. Let's go ahead and place our counterbore in here. So as I'm looking at this, we've got a 1 inch diameter spot face, I guess, instead of a counterbore. So we got a 1 inch diameter, 0.125 depth of the counterbore, and a 1/2 inch all the way through. Alright, so come back to your hole wizard. Instead of it being a simple hole, we want to select a counterbore. Not too concerned with what type it is. We're going to use custom sizing. So custom sizing, I want to make sure that my through hole is going to be a 1/2 inch in diameter. I want to make sure that my counterbore diameter is going to be 1 inch in diameter, and I want to make sure that my depth of cut is going to be 0.125. So now the positions of this is going to be fairly important. So we select positions. Make sure nothing else, no countersinks or anything here. So positions, I want to place it on this back face. I'm going to use my Control-8 command to kind of show you where we want to place it, and I'm going to use my origin right here to place it. We are now fully defined, and we can add this feature in here. So we now have that in here as well. I'm going to use my Control-7 command to make an isometric view out of this, and I'm going to just hover over my planes just to make sure I'm going to use the one that I want. So the right plane, I think, is what we're going to use next in our drawing. So we want to put this little chamfer on here, and it's going to intersect in the center of that hole right there. So let's come back to our model. I want to come select the right plane, and I want to create a sketch. See the little flyout? So I can just take that shortcut, select sketch, and now I want to grab a regular line. So I'm going to come to this top edge and this right hand edge as well, and now I want to use some dimensions. So pick the line itself, and that was 1/4 inch. and it was also 45 degrees. So I pick that line, and then this edge, pull it up, place it down, and it's 45. We are fully defined, and all we need is that one line. It's like cutting it with a cutting plane or a surface. So let's come up here. I didn't select cut to begin with, so I'm going to come select features, select extruded cut. Notice my arrow is pointing up, so it's going to remove this material, which is what we want. Instead of it being blind, I want it to go through all both. Kind of rotate it around, and it's what I want, so I accept it. And we now have that surface that we can add our next feature on. So our next feature is going to be in this little auxiliary view that we have here. Looks like we have a diameter of a 070 drill with a 120 thousandths countersink at 100 degrees. So let's go ahead and select those parameters. Now we want to come up and grab a simple hole again. Instead of it being just, so we select simple hole, instead of it being fractional sizes, we want all drill sizes. We still need to know the decimal values because I don't remember all of these things, but we know that we're way too big now. So I'm going to roll this up until we get to 0.07. And it looks like it's a number 50 wire drill size. I do want a near side countersink. I don't want my countersink to be 1/50. I do want it to be 0.12, and I also want it to be 100 degrees. So now my positions, I'm going to come up here and place my positions. I want it on this face. I'm going to use the Control-8 command. Tickle this, and I'm going to place it. I'm going to move it over here because I'm not exactly sure where I want it. So now I'm just going to draw some reference geometry. So I come to this midpoint, and then I come to this midpoint as well. Now I want to add a relation. I want this circle and this line to be coincident. And then our dimension from this edge was 0.18. So I want a smart dimension from here to here of 0.18. Now one thing I forgot, we're fully defined now. One thing I forgot in the type, I want this thing not to go through everything, but what I want it to do is I want it to go up to next. Right here it may be a blind depth through all or up to next. Up to next is what I want, so it should just poke a hole right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Now our model's getting really close to finished, so we want to come down here and take a look at this. We've got a note down here, all radii are 0.12 unless otherwise specified. So we've got these fillet radiuses here. If we look, we got them here, 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 and here. It looks like we have 4 of them we have to place on here. So let's come up and select fillet. Our size is going to be 0.12 or 1/8 of an inch. So we place it here, 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 and here. And I do believe that we're done with the model itself. So we need to make sure that we save it so we can create a drawing. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to call it junk. So now that we have it saved, we want to create a new drawing, make a new drawing, or make a drawing from part. So File, make a drawing from part. Now I'm going to get rid of my title block. So I'm going to come up here to Properties, and I want to go Custom Sheet Size, and I want to lose the title block. I want to lose the title block. Alright, so I don't have a title block. So now I'll come over here to the views. So I'm going to come drag my top view over here in this general area. And does it look like this? Looks pretty similar. So the next thing I want to do is I need to create this section right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Come up here to View Layout. We want a section view. I'm going to select this aligned view. I'm going to place it right here in the center of my part. The next thing I want to do is I want to place it here, and my third leg I want to place in the center of this as well, and I'm going to drag it over here. So what this is doing is this thing is really truly opening this thing up to 90 degrees where we can see all the inside features that we have here. So now the next view that we're going to have is an auxiliary view. So I want to select an auxiliary view, and I want to pick this face here, and I want to place it up and put it down. So we'll drag this, so we're looking at that right there. Now I'm not showing my reference circle here, but I want it to be associative. So I'm going to open up my part file again. I want to come to the top plane, and I want to create a sketch. So with that sketch, I want to come use a circle, pull it here, place it up, put it right there on the center of that, and I want it to be for construction. So that circle should be fully defined because we developed it by 2 points on a plane, which actually generates that third point to develop that circle. So we now have this reference sketch out here that is visible, and we're going to leave it visible. But when I go back to our drawing, it's not going to show up. Why is it not going to show up? I need to come over here, right click, and I want to reset sketch visibility. So it now shows up. One of the problems that I'm going to have is it's showing up in this other auxiliary view. So I want to go back to my model. So when I go back to the model, I can now hide that sketch. I can then show this model. Since this is associated with this particular one, I now have this one showing, but I can come over to this view, and it's not really, it's related to it, but it's more of a child, so I can actually hide that from this particular view and still keep it in this view. So I can use that as our bolt circle. So now we're ready to start dimensioning. So this, place it down, and I think it was B period C period. So we look at our drawing. We have a 3-inch radius here. We have typical, this dimension down is typical. Then now let's look at our hole call out. So we're going to select our hole call out, place it here. Well, it says that it's 3 times 0.44 through. That's all well and good, but our decimal places are slightly different. Notice how it says 3 times the diameter of 0.4375. So we want to come over here. Our diameter is this, so we want to change this to 4 decimal places. So we go ahead and accept that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 dimensions on this side, so now we're ready to start dimensioning on our right side view. So let's come over back to our drawing. So smart dimension, I want to place this one here, but I know that that one is 3 decimal places. And then we got a dimension from here to here, 1.75. Now I don't really like this being in between those, so we're going to move it down. Up here we have from this flat to this, which was 1/4 of an inch, and then we have this, which was 0.125. I think it was 3 places. It was 3 places. So we want to make sure that this one is also 3 places. Alright, so what are we missing? So we need the counter bore. We need this size. So we have this, 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 and this. So we need this, 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 and this. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this view. So I'm going to smart dimension. Pick here and here. Shows me my diameter. Pick here, here. It's going to show me my diameter. I need this angle dimension. Now 45.00 degrees, we really don't want that. We want to change that to none. And now we want a smart dimension of, from this point to this point. Pull it out, place it down. You can pull it up or out or this way, so just make sure whatever quadrant. Now just get it placed. You can move it wherever you want after the fact, okay? Now this is in the view, so I'm going to use my escape key a couple times, just kind of move it out of the way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we look at the drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are we missing? Oh, we're missing the big diameter right here. So come up, select your diameter or your dimension. Smart dimension. Pick this and this. Place it down, and we now have our diameter dimension, and we have all these others as well. Alright, so one thing that we don't have is a center line, so let's pick our center line. Pick that. Now when you pick your center line, look at what happened to your dimensions. That thing crossed over, so we want to move this out and away, and we want to move this out and away as well. Alright, now when our auxiliary view, I'm going to click on this, and I don't really like the way that that's oriented. I want to change this to 0 so that rotates that around. I also want a center line in here as well, so I pick that, and it shows that we got a center line in our part. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to add smart dimension. We want to pick this line and this, pull it out, place it down, verify that it's 0.18. It is 0.18, and now we have our whole call out for this right here. So instead of trying to remember all that, let the computer do all the work for us. So we want to come up and use our whole call out. I want to pick this, pull it up, place it down just anywhere for the moment. Looks like the diameter right here is 3 decimal places. So then I can change like the countersink diameter. So it tells you everything that you got right here. So I select it, and I'm going to make it 3 decimal places as well. So that changes all of those. But now it pushed it way off the screen, so I'm just going to move it down here. Now if you look at the drawing that we were provided, and we look at this, notice there's a lot of hidden information out here. I'm not going to go through all these, but I'm going to show you how to hide some of them. So you click on this line, and you have this hide and show edges. So we click hide and show, click hide and show. So you do that for everything that you have here, and then you want to make sure that you place all of your dimensions. And make sure that if you are required to have the title block fixed, that you go ahead and repair your title block, and you can get that submitted in our learning management system. Hope this helps, and have a good day, and we'll see you next time.